Welcome back to another episode of Recharge, where we bring you real conversations with people shaping the real estate industry in Michigan and beyond. My name is Kaylee Wilkinson, and I am joined by my co-host, Ashley Dane. Whether you're looking for new ideas or practical strategies in this industry, we're glad you're here. Today, we're diving into a side of real estate that many of our listeners may not know much about: commercial real estate. Dun, dun, dun. Joining us is Matthew Wisniewski with REMAX Commercial Group in Lansing. Matt has built a successful career helping clients navigate the commercial market and all the intricacies that go along with that. He's made a name for himself leaning into progressive and modern approaches to commercial sales, and he dominates his market, being a multi-year market leader in listing sales. Today, we're talking about how he got started, what makes commercial real estate so unique, and how it compares to residential, where the market is headed, and why being part of the REMAX network has helped him throughout the years. So, Matt, welcome to Recharge.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So before we dive into your real estate career, I want everyone to know who Matt is. So who are you outside of work?
I like to just have quiet time. I'm strangely, people don't know this. I love cars. I love mechanical things. One of my favorite things to unwind is to just cut grass or plow snow on the driveway. It just helps me kind of decompress and kind of focus and kind of get back to the spot where I need to be productive the next day.
I love it. And you're a father, you are a husband, you're a business
crew
leader,
member.
pit crew member.
Yes,
You wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, my wife and son, we all live down in Mason here in the Lansing area. My son races cars and started
Not
when
just
he was
any
11.
cars.
Well, no.
Yeah.
He has progressed a bit.
Yeah.
So he's running the F3 series here for North and South America. So he's been really good at racing cars, unfortunately for us. But it is something that has progressed from just the two of us in a little car to getting up to the point where I couldn't actually work on the car anymore. Now coming full circle again, where we own the car, we run with the team, but I get to be a mechanic again, and that's it's enjoyable for me to do that.
A whole lifestyle there behind real estate, right? So
For sure.
Let's go back to your beginning and your roots. How did you start in real estate?
So it all started when I got bored at work. I came from wireless industry.
Okay.
And I loved wireless because the company I worked for had never made $1. And there was zero expectations. They gave us a company credit card and said, just go out and sell. And I'm like, well, what are the criteria? And they're like, we don't care if you dress up in a pink bunny suit on the side of the road. As long as you can churn some numbers, we're good. So we started, direct mail campaigns. It was just marketing.
This business model. Okay,
It was
Wild
amazing.
West.
This is fascinating.
And then it was like, hey, I think we could, sell some business in Jackson. And they're like, well, we don't have any budget for that, but can you put it on your credit card? I was like, I think I can. And all of a sudden, they called our sales black sites because we had 3 sites that to corporate didn't exist. But there they were, fully staffed and people at them. And we actually got in trouble from the network people because they weren't expecting sales to happen in those areas and they weren't prepared for capacity. So at some point, we did too good at that and we started making money. And then all of a sudden they said, hey, we can actually make money at this. You can't spend money like that on the credit card anymore. And so once they took the keys away, it became more like selling electricity. And it was just a commodity then at that point. And it became being more measured on how we grew the business. So we had to become a little more smart about what we did and how we did it, which was good. I mean, it's good to be disciplined. It was nice to go through the marketing experiment with someone else's credit card though, And in thinking through what's happened to me since then, it was good experience for me to learn how to come up with prospecting and find my way on somebody else's dime for a bit. So one day I was having a conversation with Adam Witz. We were out for lunch and I said, I am bored. He's like, well, that's strange you say that, because he had been trying to recruit me to come and do residential for a long time. And he's like, I'm about to sign a franchise agreement for a commercial office. And so I had done some leasing with these black sites for the for our sales. Yeah. And so I was familiar with that. I enjoyed the contract negotiation and the lease negotiation. And I was like, well, do tell more. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that quickly morphed into REMAX Commercial Group. And it just seemed like in a matter of 30 days, we were in an office and we were commercial realtors, and I had my license, and then I was like, wait, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
How did this happen? But it happened fast. I think it was 30, maybe 45 days from that lunch to the time we opened up.
Approximately what year was this?
This was 2009. So
great time.
Great timing. So as you can imagine, most of my friends and families, people I didn't even know, said I was crazy.
Yeah.
Thought that was a lousy time to get into the market. From a keeping your sanity standpoint, that was a lousy time to get in the market. But the great part about it is most of our competitors in the market had just given up. Mm-hmm. They didn't go out and prospect. They weren't looking for business. They were just going, well, we'll wait and see what happens with the market, and if it gets better, then it gets better, and we'll jump in. Mm-hmm. Well, I was there eating their lunch because I didn't have any other choice. I was naive, thinking like, well, we'll go out there, hang our shingle, start making some money. Didn't exactly happen that way, but that was my perception. So I didn't have any choice then at that point. I kind of dug the hole, so I had to figure a way to get out. And so that's how it all started.
All right. So, I mean, it sounds like you started in commercial, never looked back. Like that has been your bread and butter since you began with Adam, which shout out to Adam. He's still doing his work too in the commercial space. So that's a great story. So, residential real estate in many ways is substantially different than commercial. What about the deals and the industry drew you to commercial? I mean, Adam had a great hand in it, and it was go, go, go when you guys had that conversation. But why stay with commercial?
My thought was, so Adam and I met doing residential investment deals. So I was referred to him by my lender. We did some duplex deals. My love was always for the ugly duckling building, and the thing that it was good bones. It had weird mauve carpet, and everybody goes, ooh, carpet, and I'd be like,
easy.
It's a $200,000 building, and you're going to get worked up about $2,000 worth of carpet. Yes, I'll take this building, and everything I bought for houses, for myself, for duplexes, anything was always the ugly duckling stuff, and I'm like, well, it would be nice to be in commercial because those people aren't going to think like that at all. There won't be any emotion in the deals at all. And this will be a lot just numbers, clean.
Yeah.
That wasn't true.
Oh, no. So who helped shape your career early on?
Well, I mean, early on, it was Adam Witz, back in the day, Bob Plesher. Originally, Bob and Adam started the conversation about commercial. Adam wanted to do commercial. Bob knew he did not want to do commercial. And he was like, I'll give you a place to do commercial, but I don't want to have anything to do with commercial. So those two were kind of the guiding force. And then as I progressed into it, there was more and more Mike Metzner. I started getting into like having coaching calls with Mike. And whatever the problem was at the time, Mike would give me the time planner and be like, well, here, fill this out. I'm like, oh, Mike, I know what this is going to do. Yes, I know. Never mind. And then like 3 times I have a coaching call with Mike and he said, give me that. And I'm like, oh, okay, never mind, Mike. I know. I have a problem, Mike, but I fixed it already. Like, thank you.
Yeah. So. Oh, well, those are 3 great mentors and 3 pillars in the REMAX industry. And so shout out to all 3 of those guys. And I'm sure you are now mentoring commercial real estate agents left and right and taking them under their wing. So just a very unique industry, very unique strategy and problem solving and lessons learned along the way, which I hope we dive into deeper later. Yeah. But is there a transaction or a project that you worked on that was especially memorable?
Yeah, I was thinking about that today.
Yeah.
So one of my first referrals was record for the least amount of referral money to a residential agent ever. It was $45.
Oh no!
And it was to Eleanor Cohen, and she was like, "You don't have to give me a referral on this. It's $45, Matt." But I made a rule that the referral is always going to get done, and because there's always so many residential agents who are really afraid they weren't going to get, compensated in the deal. So I was like, this is the rule. Everyone always gets paid. I don't care if it's $5 or $5,000, like you're going to get your check. Well, that little referral obviously didn't make a lot of money on it, but those people liked me so much that when they were having Christmas dinner, they told their cousin about it. The cousin referred me to another person. We did a deal on a lease for a warehouse, which became a pretty popular brewery in East Lansing. That became a referral to a medical office, which we sold. It was almost $1 million. That became a referral, all in the same family. So in this time, I've probably done $15-16 million worth of transactions.
Thank you, Eleanor Cohen.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But you just don't know where those transactions are going to head. And a lot of times people go, well, why would you mess with a deal that is a $400 a month lease? And I always say those people are either going to get bigger or they're going to get gone. And that space will need to be leased again, or those people are going to need something larger. And then sometimes it just ends up being a referral into something even bigger. So,
well, and business owners know other business owners, and
they sure do.
Yeah.
They sure do.
That's right. So at this point, I mean, you've been at it for years. You crank out deals compared to your competitors, and you always walk across our regional conference stage as one of the top commercial agents in our region, and I would argue in the state. So how many commercial sales and leases have you done in your career this far?
We are closing in on 1,000 transaction side. So probably by the end of the year, we'll hit the number. So I guess I looked at the number and I said, 1,000's not a lot. But then I looked at it over the years. I was like, okay, that's a lot.
Yeah. We need to talk about the fact, look at how many residential houses that are out there and available in the world to move. How many commercial units are out there? We are not in the same ballgame. So 1,000 commercial is equivalent to what? 10,000 residential? That I don't know that everyone listening truly understands what that number represents. That is a lot of commercial real estate in this area.
Yeah, and I guess I just don't even think of it like that. Like I want to be 10,000. Like I just want to keep. I want to do all the deals. I'm kind of disappointed when I don't do all the deals. So that's kind of.
I look at your statistics. It looks like you do all the deals.
I can't do them all. We run out of time.
You have to share.
Yes.
Fine. Yes.
Funny.
All right. So now most of our listeners here are residential agents. How would you articulate the differences between these two sides of the industry?
A real estate transaction is a real estate transaction. So
one
the
license
bones of
good
it,
for all, right?
There you go. I think the difference is it's a different inventory. And so I always liken what we do to playing the memory game. Like when we were kids, you turn over the card and match the pictures. That is most of my day. And there's never the perfect building for the right use. And it's always trying to go, all right, this building was here. It's about the right size. It needs to have 8 walls removed for it. I think it would work. And constantly matching people. Sometimes it's even buildings that aren't for sale. It's just like, I know somebody who owns a building. It's underutilized. I think they may be willing to sell it. So the other pieces of it, it's just the gotchas of residential are different than the gotchas of commercial. Like we deal with weird tax laws, we deal with zoning, we deal with environmental that in residential they're not. They're dealing with a lot of different other things, legal, like regulatory, the stuff for the loans.
Septic tanks.
Yes, septic tanks, stuff that I have no idea. And people ask me like, why don't you do residential? I'm like, Last time I did a residential deal, I referred myself out because I didn't want to have anything to do with it because I knew it wasn't a good use of my time.
Yeah.
So
yes. Now, we had Josh May on our podcast a few episodes ago, and he actually started as a commercial agent in REMAX Grand Rapids as an internship. And he appreciated his time in commercial because he said that it helped him think like an attorney, that the deals that happen in commercial, you have to pay attention to all of those details, and the great agents are paying attention to that. And he pulls that over into his residential world. From a client side, how are the clients different? How are the services you're providing to your clients different than what our residential agents are providing?
Well, I think, some of it, like the sale piece of it is correlates really well.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of leasing, and the leasing piece of it is strange because it's not just, how many dollars does this take in this month? It is what does those dollars cumulatively end up being for a value for the building. So if you're talking an investment building, $100, giving somebody $100 discount on a building is, $1,200 over the year, and then it's an exponential over an investment. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of times we'll end up with people that have had multifamily buildings for years and years and years, and I'll be like, all right, why are your rents like $200 less than everybody else's? And I'm like, oh, Matt, these people are like family. And I'm like, oh, I appreciate that, but let me do the math for you real quick on what 200 times 80 times 12 is at a 8% rate of return. And I go, oh, like, are they that close a family? Because you're giving them a couple $100,000. Yeah. And that's the other piece of it. Like, we have to be really conscious of there's a lifespan to someone's commercial investment. And so we're kind of figuring out where does it go in, what happens in the meantime, where are they going to exit, and do we have all the right leases in the right places when they go to exit so that we can maximize the value of the building.
I love that perspective. Like, there's, in general, real estate is just very interesting to me, but the thought process that goes behind commercial conversations is just so fascinating because there's so many different pieces. There's a lot of money at play. There's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of money to be lost with deals going sideways and wrong. What do residential agents take for granted in the deals that they do?
How quickly they transact. Yes. Our deals are painfully slow, and we kind of chuckle when we get offers from a residential agent because they'll just so undershoot what the due diligence time frame needs to be or their financing due diligence. And be like, oh, that's cute. Like, maybe they know something I don't know, but they'd be like, all right, here's the offer. It's never going to close in this amount of time, but you're like, bless their heart for trying. Like, but it's just never going to happen. But yeah, it's the timing. I mean, the cadence of commercial transactions is so frustrating, and it's probably the thing that took me the longest to get used to, and I still kind of buck against it. But for whatever reason, commercial moves really, really slow.
And what is slow? Like, from start to finish, how long does a typical commercial transaction take?
So average days on market over 400. From contract to close, I usually say 90 days is about right, unless we're doing development.
You can't close in 2 weeks flat?
You cannot close in 2 weeks flat.
Yeah.
We recently sold a building in Okemos that was being redeveloped from a restaurant to a car wash. We were under contract for 18 months on that one, fighting with the township about whether or not a car wash was a good use for the piece of land and getting the right entitlements and getting the drain commission to approve the site plan. And there were so many moving parts to it that that just became kind of almost a joke. Like, well, I wonder if it's going to close this month. Well, no, it's not going to close this month. But it just took forever and ever and ever. And then the first time we put it under contract, we got through all the different hoops, and the developer didn't have any money. So they just didn't show up to close. Lost all their earnest money. So we had to go and do it all over again. And they wouldn't just say, oh, yeah, you want to do another car wash? We'll approve that. No, we just started over
from the drawing board.
Right to square one again.
Are you a realtor or a business partner here? My gosh.
It feels like the line gets a little blurry.
And your little metaphor of like playing the memory card game, like, I cannot even fathom trying to remember all those intricate details of that transaction 18 months down the road and like revisiting those like no time had ever passed, because that's how you have to treat your client. Like,
Right.
Of course I know what I'm doing. Like, I know these details. They're in the like, I know them.
All of the commercial spaces this man has seen since 2009.
Yes.
Like, that is a vast knowledge of commercial real estate in this area.
Yeah.
It's really funny because when I started off, and I guess the old timers, I would go with the old timers and they would take me on appointments and teach me things. And we would go through and they're like, I sold that building 4 times. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. Like, you're going to take me around and show me all the buildings you sold 4 times. And now with my son, I'm like, I sold that building 5 times now. And I'm like, wait, I shouldn't be old enough to sell anything 5 times. But yeah, my gray hair says otherwise. So.
What does a typical day look for you? How are you finding these clients that you work with?
So it kind of depends on moment to moment, but maybe 40% of my business comes from other REMAX referrals. Okay. So especially being with REMAX real estate professionals in the same building, we just have such a great synergy.
That's great.
And it's such a great group of people. Mm-hmm. They have great clients, and we have good reputation for making sure their people are taken care of. The other 60% is just going out and cold calling. And Adam used to like to take me going door knocking, which I absolutely hated. So I do everything I can to not do that now. So I'm early morning in the office, quiet, cup of coffee. I use a lot of electronic, like GIS and things like that, to kind of like virtually farm. Mm-hmm. So I look for rooftops with big roofs and go, what is that? And we did one yesterday with our agents where we just sat down and we went through, and I was like, this is how I do it. Yeah. Like, that looks like a big roof. I wonder what that is. And then you're like, oh, that's cool. I didn't even know that was there. And especially with using, the GIS, you end up seeing a lot of places that are off the beaten path that have a lot of commercial real estate that you would have never even known that was there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. Now, I can search for real estate. Let me tell you, like, I know when it comes to residential real estate, I know the data, I know the filters, I know how it's done. We at REMAX in Michigan moved office buildings a couple years ago. And when the prospect was a reality of we're going to have to find a new home, it was like, okay, let's find commercial real estate. And that was, even though I've been in this business for 20 years, it was just a douse of, oh, this is a different ballgame, because it is not as easy to find the inventory. When you're working with a commercial buyer and you're helping them find a place to lease or find a place to buy, what is that process like compared to what a residential agent's working with a buyer on their side?
Oh, I think the problem is it's just the level of the technology on the commercial side is not as widely implemented, and the agents still don't want to share their data. And so a lot of the time it's look through the commercial board of realtors and go, well, that didn't do anything. And then it's picking up the phone and going, hey, I've got somebody that needs 8,000 square foot of warehouse. Do you have anything? Do you know of anything coming up? Do you know anyone that's got one that doesn't have a lot of stuff in that we can move it out and sell it? It's thinking back about past transactions that, that something's changing in their business or there might be something coming up. About half of it is just trying to come up with inventory on the fly while you're sitting there thinking through, like, all right, how am I going to find some place for these people?
Wow. Yeah. So unique. Yes. So different. So what is your opinion on specialization? Should commercial agents do residential? I know you don't, but in your opinion, should they, or should residential agents do commercial? Should they intertwine?
So I think it depends on where you are. So in like Lansing, Michigan, there's enough commercial business for you to specialize in commercial business. If you are in Escanaba, then it's a different ballpark. I mean, in those areas, that's where our network is so strong, is because I know I can make a phone call and no one's going to have the kind of coverage that I have in rural Michigan. They're just not touchable. So it goes back to where you are. And to me, it has to do with, what does that time cost you to become proficient at both? So it depends geographically where you're located. If you're in one of maybe 6 markets that REMAX of Michigan is in, specialization is great. If you're outside of that area, doing both is where it's at. I mean, and I think you probably don't have everybody in your office doing both, but having a couple of people that know enough about commercial that you can get through a deal, that works great. And what we've found is that in areas where we've got somebody like that, and they come across a seller that wants the big brand, the big commercial, we come in and do a marketing agreement with them. We do the listing presentation. We provide the commercial marketing piece of it, and they provide the local know-how, and it becomes a really great opportunity then. We generate leads. We send them to the local broker. They work them. Because just like residential, I mean, if you had 10 leads, 9 of them aren't going to buy it, but they're going to buy something. So that broker works, find them something there, and we just kind of, create opportunities.
Yeah, and I think a focal point of that is just the partnerships that you create within your office with other residential agents that you had mentioned before that share office space with you guys, partners with businesses, even up-and-coming businesses. So that is all essential to how you function in just a strictly commercial world. But if a residential agent gets a commercial lead, they've never done one before, what should they do? Should they refer it out, or do they learn how to do it?
I think it depends. It depends on the complexity of the deal, what it is, how much time they have on their hands. There's a lot of acronyms to get used to. There are some pitfalls, and I think we touched on it earlier, environmental and zoning. So you don't want to put your client into a spot where they're going to have some regrets. And you don't want to put somebody in a building where they're going to have maybe like a health hazard or something like that. So probably a good place to start is with the broker owner. Have a conversation with them and say, here's what I've got. What do you think? Do we have the expertise on the team to do this internally, or should we involve somebody else? Second call would probably be me, because I'll just tell you straight how it is. And, if somebody's interested in doing something or wants to do something on their own, I'll talk them through. Like, these are things you have to do. We've help people get through deals with it. And it's usually the conversation is on zoning and it's on environmental, and just like, all right, make sure that we've covered these things, because you don't want somebody to buy something that, they spent $500,000 for a building that's got $1 million worth of problems.
Yeah. You have to have some sort of expertise behind you if you're going to dive into a commercial real estate
for
listing.
Sure.
Well, and thank you for lending that knowledge to those agents that call. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some new skills that agent would need to develop to be a successful commercial agent?
So I think just some basic financial math is a lot of times how we kind of maybe double check our numbers. And, there's the traditional comparison way of valuing a property. A lot of times we'll use an investment analysis to kind of just confirm or deny that those are the right numbers, and just say, all right, if I lease this out at market rates at this purchase price, can I make the payment on it or not? I mean, it's just kind of a real rudimentary gut check. And then from there, knowing something about the environmental is super important. And you don't have to be an expert on it. You just have to know where the dangers lie, so that you can say you need to talk to an environmental professional, or you might not need to do an environmental professional here. It just depends on the size of the building. If it's a $50,000 building, you probably don't want to spend $5,000 in environmental. But if it is a $50,000 building and you're going to have people working in it, and then you got to just think about what is the best, just to be a good human. You don't want to make people sick being in a bad building.
Yeah.
So, and then you just have to have enough knowledge on taxation that you don't put a seller in a bad spot. Because one thing that's really different in commercial is that we're constantly doing depreciation on our buildings. Well, you might be surprised to think IRS is going to want some of that back when you sell the building. Everyone forgets about it. Everyone. So all that depreciation you take for the last 30 years, when you go to sell the building, the IRS wants 25% of that back. And
you pay it now or pay it later. They will take it.
We've had it where it's been almost the entire purchase price when we looked at it, because somebody's had the building for 30 years. it economically is not where it was 30 years ago. It was built in 1970. It's upstairs, downstairs, has no elevator. It's not worth what it was. Then you go and say, oh, by the way, you're taking, $200,000 worth of reversion tax when you sell this, and your cost of sale, and you got $300,000 for the building. And they're like, I don't want to do that deal. And they're like, oh, we need to figure out something else then, because they're going to put a gas station here. They're not even going to keep the building. So maybe we tear the building down and we sell it as vacant land. And then we've taken that tax burden off completely, because there is nothing to pay reversion on that piece of it. We're just selling vacant land at that point.
Okay, I've had many interesting conversations about investments. I've never had someone pitch to take the building down.
Yeah.
See, look at that.
Yeah.
There's so many tidbits here.
Well, I have heard agonies over the depreciation conversation and the IRS getting their chunk.
Yeah.
See, if you need to solve this problem, find Matt.
Yeah. That is one that and it never comes up unless you just go, you need to talk to your accountant about this. And it's not that you have to be an expert in it. You just have to know enough to go, you need to talk to your accountant about this.
Yeah.
Then at least you did your due diligence. And it's just like legal stuff. You don't have to be the lawyer, but you have to understand, I think the stove is hot. Yeah. You don't want to put your hand on it. Talk to this person, get an environmental consultant.
I've seen other stoves that have looked like this.
Yes. I've had my hand there.
Yes.
I don't think you want to put your hand there.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of real estate agents, especially in residential, have these ideas or assumptions about commercial real estate and what it can do for them. But what is the biggest misconception that you hear about commercial real estate from other agents?
I think that the commission rate is more than it really is. Everybody seems to think that commercial commissions are more than residential, and newsflash, no. Because most people will do a residential deal or two or three in their life. Pretty much whatever residential does, we end up dragging commercial down with it. So expectation on closing time or commission. So, when I get to them finally, they're like, oh, you can close this in 30 days at this %, right? I'm like, who told you that? And then the residential agent is like, oh, well, I know you're going to make 10% off of this deal. I'm like, who told you that?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then just absolutely not believing how long the deal is going to take.
Right.
So.
Average days on market of 400 days. That's residential land. We are 30 days.
Yeah.
It's
terrifying.
And 30 days is a little bit slower than it has been. 400 days. Okay.
So what keeps your work interesting after all these years?
I think just it's always new. And the thing that I love about this is there's so many people doing things to make a living that you would have no idea or even a possibility. And I just absolutely love it. I'm like, what do you do? Yeah. I was on a building tour this morning with somebody, and they work for a company that does political consulting, and they come and they'll rent a building for 4 months, and they'll come and do canvassing, or they'll come and work on a ballot proposal. And I'm like, so what do you do when there's not a ballot proposal? And she's like, Matt, this is my full-time job. This is what we do. We go all over the country and do this. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. So it just amazing things I found. People, we had a guy in one of our office buildings that was growing sea sponges. I was like, I didn't know you could grow sea sponges. And I don't think you're supposed to be doing that in an office building.
What does one do with sea sponges?
I don't know. I guess I didn't ask enough questions.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be follow-up nerdery. Yeah. I'll report back on the commodity of sea sponges. So you've built your brand and your business under the REMAX banner. I know it happened because you happen to know Adam personally, but it's a different commercial path than many other commercial agents. How has being with REMAX influenced your career?
I think the great thing about REMAX is I never walk into a business and say I'm from REMAX and they go, what's that? Yeah. Never. I've never had anyone not know that I'm there to buy or sell their building. Mm-hmm. And people in commercial can't say that. I would say from a brand recognition standpoint, exponentially better brand recognition. The other thing is the referral network and even more so the people that associate with REMAX. And the caliber of agent that work at REMAX is just so much better than everywhere else. And because of that, the referrals they have are so much better than everywhere else. So I don't have to know every single mover and shaker in the business world because they're all clients all around me. So it's just making sure that when I have the opportunity to help one of those agents, that I do a really good job, make them look good, take care of their client. And even if we're not going to sell it or buy it or lease it, at least give them the kind of information that provides value to them.
Yeah.
So that agent looks good and that they continue to be the person that's the knowledge base of real estate.
Do you think in that scenario, you walk into the building, you've got REMAX, they know exactly who you are. Do you think that having REMAX with you as a brand has actually gotten you a client? Do you think that there are buyers, sellers that would shop who they're working with and have picked you because of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think for a lot of people, the brand means a lot. And, for us, it's strange because, REMAX isn't a commercial first brand, but because of that, REMAX does a lot of things that we can glom onto commercially, like technology things and just stuff you just kind of look at and go, all right, that's not how commercial does it, but we probably should. And so there's all kinds of new ideas that because REMAX is so far ahead that I just go, oh, hey, we need to do that.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times people go, oh, that's stupid. Like, why are you guys doing that? And then, 3 years, they're like, oh, I guess we should have done that.
Yeah.
So.
But Matt, to your point, I want to emphasize what you said earlier is like REMAX supports agents that are productive and professional and respected in their market. And I think that embodies who you are as well. Like you are working with business owners, right? And so they can see through a typical salesperson. And you being a business owner yourself, like you can present yourself behind the REMAX banner as a top commercial agent in the area who respects business owners and understands them through and through and is just a specialist in their market. And so, yes, REMAX, you're in the right spot. But it's a kudos to you for like really flying that flag yourself too. So
yeah, it's been good. I mean, I've had appointments where I've gone into and people say, well, you must be successful because you wouldn't be at REMAX if you weren't.
It's a good
not
start.
wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and complete sidebar for you, like in the world of technology. So the REMAX Canva version, I was digging around in there for the different brand templates. And when I saw that they had a REMAX commercial section that had all of the REMAX commercial branding, I'm like there is no other, and I don't want to say there are no other, but my bet is there is no other commercial real estate agent brand that has a like professionally branded Canva opportunity for them. Yeah. I was very, very pleased with REMAX for doing that.
Yeah, it's been great to see the support.
Yeah. Good. So looking back now, what is something that you wish someone had told you when you were first getting started?
I think everyone gave me good advice. I think I would have maybe listened to it a little sooner. That probably would have been the secret.
Yeah.
A lot of it was just, and I think it's just new agent stuff. You think, oh, I can spend money and get prospects, or I can spend money to not do the thing that I'm uncomfortable doing, whatever it is. And all you do is spend money. Ultimately, it motivates you to work because now you have to pay for that money. But really, it was just listening to the people around me that had my best interest in heart, and knowing you didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Like there's lots of people in our network that are super successful, and I think we just, for whatever reason, think, they would never tell me how I did it. Or, they'll never. And that was like when I started off, I was like, to Peter McIntyre, I was like, what do you got going over here? How did you get like all these people in this office and this machine? And he was like so excited that somebody had actually asked him about it, sat down, gave me the whole thing. Like he would have given it to me chapter and verse. I was just like, wow, that's like, I just thought he would be like, oh, go away. Like, I'm not going to tell you the secret sauce.
Yeah.
And I find like, as I have grown in the business it's kind of that way for me as well. People ask me like, well, how did you do this? And I'm like, well, this is how you do it. And this is when I do it. And they're like, oh, that can't be it. Like, like there's got to be something else. It's got to be easier than that. But it really is there. It's out there for the taking if you're willing to ask questions.
Yeah. And Ashley and I've been watching you do business for 9 years, ever since I started with REMAX. And when we were reflecting on this episode and what to talk to you about, one of the things that stood out is how progressive you are with your commercial marketing and advertising, much different than the standard commercial agent. And how do you develop some of these practices and ideas where your competitors, if you will, are still kind of doing the basics?
I mean, I have to interject here because it's so, what you do and how you do it's so different than the general average commercial agent.
Yeah.
I would joke they're using a chisel and a stone and you're over here with QR codes and doing like social media, marketplace branding and advertising to sell your listings. Like you're in a different playing field.
I think a lot of it is, the rising tide raising all ships. Our ship is in the REMAX brand, and we have all these really powerful residential agents around us, and their landscape is so competitive that, like the region brings out all these cool tools, and I'm just like, how can I use that in my business? And then I'm calling Ashley going, hey, I broke your thing. And here's what I'm trying to do with it. And she goes, Matt, you're not supposed to be doing that with it.
Let's problem solve it. We'll make it happen.
But let me figure out how we can make it work.
Yep.
And so then it's, and it's been that way from day one. I mean, we started off, like I talk about Adam and Bob Plesher, and Bob was really big on doing video tours. And I showed up at my first commercial broker meeting, and I've got video tours, and I actually got laughed at. They laughed at me. And I was like, well, why would you just turn your back on that? Yeah. Because the market is being set by residential. The expectations of the consumers are being set by residential. They want Zillow to have commercial property on it. They want that same experience when they look for commercial as they do from residential. And we're woefully inept at doing that. So it doesn't take a lot to be exceptional in commercial. You just some kind of a try at it.
Well, you have certainly hit that threshold of exceptional.
Yeah. And an overlying theme when we talk about commercial, even in this conversation here, is how slow it moves. But we're starting to notice some practice changes that might be changing that. What has changed the most over the past few years for you?
I think technology has really leveled the playing field. And I think commercial was always a business that was really difficult for new people to get into because the data was so protected by the old guard, like, we've got it in a book. It's in my desk drawer. It's locked. Technology has kind of taken that out of people's hands. For better, for worse, it can be argued, but it just is. So it really has made it so much more attainable for just somebody to come in off the street and work hard and become successful at commercial. So that's probably the biggest thing is just the technology. And as I get older, it becomes harder to keep up with the technology. And I kind of laugh at myself because I'm kind of there now, but I'm like, man, I don't really want to do like they're doing reels in my office and like that works really well. I'm not doing it, but I'm glad you guys
Good
are.
For you. Yeah.
That was the conversation yesterday. I was like, wow, that's really effective, and I'm not doing it.
You're going to welcome the new Matt, right? The new Matt who's 20 years younger, the version of you, and then they'll be like, I'll try it. I'll do the reel.
Yes.
Matt can laugh at me when I do a reel on commercial real estate.
The funny thing is, my dad's like, I saw you on Facebook yesterday in a video. I'm like, the heck you did? He's like, no, it was on there. I'm like, where? Well, no, it's because I'm accidentally in the background of somebody's video. They're doing a walkthrough as I'm standing there looking like an oaf.
Kaylee, we are with Hollywood over here.
So when my own dad is seeing it and notices me in the background of a video, I'm like, all right, I know it's effective. Yeah. I'm still not doing it. But.
So where do you see your biggest opportunities in the next several years in the commercial space?
I think, as AI becomes more prevalent, I think AI is going to really change commercial for better or for worse. I think like right now we're seeing it from a contract standpoint where people get these 48-page contracts and they feed them in AI, and then I'll get a bullet list of stuff like, like, wow, those are some good points. And then like, that is not a good point at all. Like that is not going to happen. So it's kind of a give and take with AI. I think there's some really, really good stuff on there. It's good for consumers because I think it kind of demystifies some of the stuff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of bad for consumers because I think sometimes they go down a rabbit hole trying to fight something that isn't really a fight at all, or gives them concerns about things that aren't a concern. But I think for the industry, the whole, I think it's going to really help us kind of, again, level the playing field and just give more access to everyone, for data and what comps look like. And I think there's a lot of stuff that still gets hidden that won't be able to be hidden anymore because of AI.
Mm-hmm. Also, we need to pull on a thread just for a hot minute. We were talking about the differences in residential and commercial, and we're like the length of the sale and the due diligence and knowledge. You also said the words 48-page contract. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Residential sitting at like very long ones at 5 and 6 in Michigan. Yes. 48 pages.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real struggle for us because we'll get these. We go back to the $400 lease. I showed it to a $400 lease to a person. They want to pay in cash and they want to sign the lease right there. Mm-hmm. And then I have to take an application, wait for 2 weeks for the landlord's attorney to get me a lease. And I'm like, we don't need you to spend $1,000 to provide a lease I need something that's one page, double-sided, that I can write their name and address in, flip it over, have them sign it, and take the cash and run it to the bank for you. That's what I need. So it's trying to get to some kind of compromise where those people can go, okay, yeah, maybe we don't need the 48 pages for the $400 a month lease, but it's a struggle. Yeah. It's a struggle.
And in that note, if you were to sit down with somebody that is considering going into commercial as an agent, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them?
I would say find a spouse with health insurance. The truth. Yeah, honestly, the problem, like, is a great industry. The problem is it takes so long to ramp up that without either a fat bank account or another provider of income, it's just hard. It's hard to get through that, and especially if you're staring at the path of residential or commercial. I would say residential has way more competition, but the paydays come so much sooner. Mm-hmm. So even if you get lucky, you're going to get a paycheck quicker that way than you are in commercial. So it's just about being able to weather the storm and kind of fill the sales funnel full of deals before you run out of money.
Yeah,
that's fair. So commercial took a hit during COVID. How did it bounce back? Are we back?
We're back, kind of. Okay. It's different, and every industry was hit a little differently. So, we saw a lot of small businesses end up with funny money from the government, and they're just like, well, I don't know what to do with this. Let's go buy an office. Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of those people move out of office they were leasing. The small office market went nuts. Mm-hmm. Everything sold. You couldn't even buy anything. We're seeing that calm down because the influx of cash stopped. We saw restaurants get just pummeled. Yeah. And that has not fixed itself other than that they're getting torn down and plowed under. Yeah. And I'm sad because going out for a nice dinner was something we always used to really enjoy. And we just don't do it anymore because it was like you couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And then you could do it, but nobody was there to work or you had to wear a mask. And you just got trained that, all right, this isn't fun anymore. Mm-hmm. And so between everything being expensive and not having any employees, that's become a really tough business. So
that's true. Now, switching gears into the investment side, consumers looking to diversify their revenue sources, often a good starting place for many people is investment properties. And I think the default in many of these cases is residential investment properties. Often you see people start with buying a duplex and working through that way. And then you start to see some savvy investors move over into the commercial space for the investment properties that they would own and hold. If someone were interested in commercial properties for investment purposes, how would they get started?
I think the first thing is to talk to a professional and just talk about what it is that you do and you like, and see if there's any correlations to a product type. Because you could say, I'm going to buy an investment property. Well, what does that mean? Like, how involved do you want to be? Do you want it to just be mailbox money? Do you want to manage it actively? Do you like warehouse properties or retail properties or office properties? Or do you want to speculate on vacant land? There's so many different ways you could go. Where do you want it to be? And sometimes people are investing in different areas because long-term they want to retire in West Michigan. And so they want to have something there that they can kind of play with as they retire and have some passive income. So it's a pretty nebulous question at first until you kind of get into what the motivation for them is and ultimately what they want to do with that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what I'm hearing, synthesize this. When I want to invest in commercial property, come find Matt, and you can head me in a direction that won't be a poor choice for our family. Yes. Okay, so sometimes you're selling buildings, leasing buildings, helping people buy and sell. But also commercial real estate, sometimes you're selling businesses. We were already talking about, it sounds in many ways, if a deal takes 2 years to close, you're a business partner in that. How in the world do you aggregate the knowledge to consult on that properly and effectively and professionally?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay, yeah. It just happens.
Just happens naturally.
I guess it's like we were talking about the hot stove. Like, I think through experience, you learn like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. And like some of it is kind of knowledge that is the same every deal. So if you're selling a business, there's certain things you have to worry about. If there's employees or things like that, or taxes, and so those things always remain the same. There's some things that are very specific, like franchises, where you have to deal with assuming the franchise and all the restrictions that come with that, and the approval process that come with it. It doesn't matter that two people agree they're going to sell the business. There's a third party that has to agree to it as well, and they're probably going to want to get paid. And so there's a lot of things that I guess until you do it, you probably don't know. And I think if you are out there doing it your first time, it's a little daunting. And having somebody you can call and go, doing this, what should I watch out for?
Yeah.
I think that is probably key.
That's such an interesting part of the business that residential agents wouldn't necessarily touch, like selling somebody's business, helping value those things. Anyways, I'm sure that you got many stories there. In terms of stories, every commercial agent has a heartbreak story of a deal that they worked so hard and it fell apart. Do you have one? Do you have one over the course of your career that you mourn?
I have one. We were selling an office warehouse, and it was really tough to sell. And then I had this group that looked at it, and they wanted to turn it into a church. And I was like, that's not going to work. And then I looked at it, and I was like, it might work. And so they put together some deal terms. The seller was motivated. They were going to finance the deal. I was like, well, we got to get it through the township. We get the city approval. We got to figure out the parking. We figure out everything. Everything came into play. The congregation went through. They loved the building. They got their renovation budgets. We worked that piece of it out. They had some last minute budgetary issues. They needed to put a little bit less money down. Seller decided he was going to work with that to get the deal done. The Sunday at 7:00 before we're closing at 10 Monday, they called me and said, hey, we just had the vote with the congregation and we were 1 vote short and we can't buy it.
1 vote.
Yeah.
Guys.
So I was just
less than 24 hours before.
Yeah.
That is
it was not the
heartbreak.
call I was expecting.
My heart breaks for every party involved in that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, Matt. If our listeners can walk away with one piece from this conversation, what do you hope that is?
I guess I would say never underestimate the power of our network and the people that are here, because we have so much expertise that there isn't a problem that's real estate related that we can't collectively solve. And it may not be that we have the knowledge to solve it, but we know the person that will solve it. And so a lot of times it's not that I know how to fix it, but I know to point you in the right direction. And same thing with residential. Like there's not a problem that's out there that we haven't encountered collectively. And the desire for REMAX agents to help each other is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And if somebody wanted to reach out and contact you, what is the best way to do so?
Probably phone, email.
Okay.
I honestly, any of those are great ways to get a hold of me.
Okay. They just find you online and look you up?
Yeah, send me a text message. That's probably the most effective way to get me.
Just Google Lansing commercial real estate expert pro guru.
Yeah. Well, Matt, this has been a fascinating conversation and very enlightening and educational. So thank you for taking the time to sit down with Ashley and us and just chat all things commercial real estate. So thank you for your time today.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes. And listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Recharge. We hope that you gained some insight, some appreciation for all your commercial agents in your area. And of course, if you have any agent commercial needs or referrals, you can certainly reach out to Matt. He's happy to help. But thank you for tuning in. If you liked this episode, make sure you like, subscribe, and continue following the REMAX of Michigan Recharge podcast. Until next time, thank you.